DJ scream, heavy in the streets.
We gon' get it, we gon' get it, we gon' get it. We gon' get it, we gon' get it. Get it in blood. Get it in blood. We gon' get it, we gon' get it, we gon' get it. We gon' get it, we gon' get it. Get it in blood. Get it in blood.
Good rich.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Saints and Appetizers podcast. And I'm Ethan, and we're back. We got some more appetizers for you, and we got a reaction show for UFC 286 Edwards versus Usman 3. And whew, we're on a bad run of making these picks. You know, it seems like 3 or 4 pay-per-views in a row where I have just not fared very well with my picks, but I put this mustache on. I put this mustache on. I trimmed it and manicured it for my guy Gunnar Nelson, who ended up being the only person to pull out a win for me. But anyways, let's get into these fights right now. So can I get a menu? So in the first fight was a middleweight bout between Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolcic. And the scorecard for that was a decision, unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, and a 30-27. That's the judge that I have a hard time understanding how he judged it 30-27, because it just, in my opinion, of course, a lot of these fights, I think, honestly, could have went the other way. Several of them. I'll admit the ones that I definitely didn't. Definitely, the pick I got was just completely wrong. But hell, 2 or 3 of these, I think, could have went the other way. And the reason I think that about this bout is just Roman Dolcic in this fight. He just seemed, when throwing punches, he seemed to have more power on him and was always pushing the pace. And really the only thing that Marvin Vettori had that was consistent and effective were his leg kicks. He threw a ton of leg kicks in this fight. And for the most part, this was just a kickboxing match. There was no real takedown chances. Tries or anything like that. So there was really no threat of it becoming a ground fight. It was just a pretty much a kickboxing match. I don't think they hit the ground even once. So, and a lot of these fights, almost every single one of these fights, besides the Gunnar Nelson one, were just pretty much straight up kickboxing matches. Even though Kamaru Usman is primarily a wrestler and was trying to get some takedowns. But yeah, and going back to the 30-27, I just don't understand how the judge could judge that, because you have to admit, I would think for most people, you'd have to admit Roman Dolcic won the first round at least, because he at one point in the bout he rocked Marvin Vettori, and it looked like he was about to get him out of there with a TKO, but just ended up not getting the finish. But if I was judging this fight, I would have probably given Roman Dolcic the first 2 rounds and then Marvin Vettori the third round, because it seemed kind of like towards the third round, towards the end of the fight, Roman Dolcic was kind of running out of gas, and he was taking a lot of leg kicks and just wasn't as explosive. So I just from my opinion, I would have given Roman Dolcic the win by unanimous decision. But alas, that's not how it went down. So that was a unanimous decision for Marvin Vettori, 29-28, 29-28, and a 30-27. So on to the second fight on this card. It was a women's flyweight between Jennifer Maia and Casey O'Neill, and that ended up being a unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28. And I, I agree with this one. I originally picked Casey O'Neill in this fight, and this fight was once again just basically a kickboxing match. I think Jennifer Maia maybe attempted a takedown maybe at one point in the fight, but uh, as far as I can remember, I don't think she really got the takedown. Never completed one. And similar, like I said, I picked Casey O'Neill on this one, but I looked at this fight very similar to the Marvin Vettori Roman Dolce fight. Is Jennifer Maia? She just seemed to have more power. There was more on her punches, even though Casey O'Neill was kind of the one pushing the pressure most of the time. Jennifer Maia's punches probably were causing more damage, and just you could tell the power was there for Jennifer Maia. And one of the judges in this fight as well judged it 30-27, and you know, I think I probably agree with that. As far as I know, Casey O'Neill maybe won the first or second round, but that's about it in that fight. And even though these first two fights have been pretty much uh, kickboxing bouts and have gone my and haven't gone my way, I would say for the most part they were pretty exciting. I would say if I was to be honest, I would say that probably the Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill fight was maybe the most boring. But like I said, it was just like pretty much watching this whole main card was just like watching kickboxing. Until we get to the third bout, which was a welterweight bout between my guy, Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberino. And I predicted this one exactly right because I predicted that Gunnar Nelson would win this by submission, and he did. He won it by submission armbar at 4:51 of the first round, and this was not even really a competitive fight at all. From pretty much the get go, Gunnar Nelson uh, pushed Brian Barberino up against the cage and kind of struggled there for a little bit, getting him down. But once he got him down, it was pretty much over. And he was throwing these really like slicing hard elbows until Brian Barberino gave up his arm and got caught in the armbar, and it was just over. He tapped pretty quick, like they were saying, either tap or snap. So I got to give some ode and some respect to my guy. That's the only reason I got the mustache because Gunnar Nelson had a sweet one going. So I thought I could get one going too. And it's not fake. It doesn't come off. It's real. I don't know. I probably won't be keeping it for long, but just the guy saved my day. Saved the day for me, or I would have went 0-5 on this card. So that was a welterweight bout between Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberino. Submission armbar at 4:51 of the first round. So thanks for saving the day, Gunnar. All right, on to the co-main event between Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev, and that ended up being a majority decision, because it was 29-28, 29-28, and one of the judges actually had it 28-28, which I could believe that, and that was just a 3-round fight, not a title fight, and that's if it didn't go that way, I could see it going 28-28, and I picked Rafael Fiziev in this fight, and it really just seemed like like just going round by round. It seemed I would have given. I agree with this, and I agree that it possibly could have been a draw as well. But I agree with this decision. Out of all the ones that I lost, I guess I did with the Jennifer Maya and Casey O'Neill one as well. But with this one, I probably agree with this because Rafael Fiziev really looked good. He was explosive and throwing powerful punches and getting in and out really fast in the first round. So I would have given the first round probably to Rafael Fiziev. But that kind of seemed to slowly, as the fight went on, that kind of slacked off in the second and third round. And I think Rafael Fiziev actually went for a takedown or two, but never was able to land one in the second round. But like I said, this was pretty much just another kickboxing match, and and, and with also the thing that really probably swayed the judges was that Rafael Fiziev looked like had a lot more damage, had cut above his eyes, looked like a king, a raccoon, because both of his eyes were black. And then Justin Gaethje looked like he was ready to go out on a dinner date. Didn't have a scratch on him. So pick this. Didn't pick this one right again because I picked Rafael Fiziev, but I agree with this. I agree that Justin Gaethje won this by decision, or I wouldn't have been obviously I wouldn't have been upset if it would have been a draw either. So that's that fight between which was a lightweight bout between Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Decision, majority decision, 29-28, 29-28, and that 28-28 draw from one of the judges. All right, on to the co-main event. And there was a lot of build-up between these guys. They acted like they had some beef going into this, and that's the thing. Leon Edwards really didn't show in the first. I guess that was the second fight. He wouldn't even look at Kamaru Usman in the face. But at their standoff, that that seemed like they were kind of talking trash. And to start the fight, they didn't touch gloves. But anyways, this is the co-main event was welterweight bout between Leon Edwards, the champion, versus Kamaru Usman, and this ended up being another decision, majority decision. It was a 28-26, 28-26, and 47-47. And I predicted this. I'll admit I predicted this to go to decision, but I picked Kamaru Usman to win this one, and that would have just been probably my decision, majority decision, close to what happened in the second fight. What was going to happen in the second fight before he got his head kicked off. But this was a fight where in the first round, and this is just my opinion. In the first round, it looked like Leon Edwards. I'll give him credit. I thought he won the first round, but then I honestly thought Kamaru Usman won the second round, and then came the third round where Leon Edwards had already been holding Kamaru Usman's glove and doing some groin shots, but in this one he had an egregious fence grab that would have taken a point, and maybe I think Kamaru Usman won that round as well, which should have led to 10-8 if nothing else. That's why it's a little surprising that the scorecards aren't more like 48-47 instead of them being 48-46, 48-46 in two of them, which that just seems, I don't know, it's hard to believe because the fight seemed a lot closer than that. And then in the fourth round, once again, I would have given it to Kamaru Usman. I mean, in the pretty much after the first round, he was pretty much going for takedowns, quite a few takedowns, but he never really landed any of them. I think he maybe landed two, so maybe that kind of took away from what the judges were looking at in the stand-up game. And then in the fifth round, I would probably give that one to Leon Edwards. So I probably had it 3-2 for Leon Edwards, and one of the rounds actually being a 10-8. So if if Kamaru Usman didn't win this fight, I'm probably more agreeing with the judge for the 47-47 draw, because it was a close fight. It really was a close fight. I understand how it could go either way, but man, got to give credit to Leon Edwards. He's the champion, undisputed champion, has defended his champion. There's no fluke. The crowd was chanting headshot dead, headshot dead. So there's no fluke behind him landing that head kick late in the fifth round of the Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 2. So he's the champ. I'll give it to him. So that was the welterweight bout between Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, decision majority 48-46, 48-46, and 47-47. So let's just go over the other four. So co-main event was, I'll go from top to bottom. So middleweight, the first fight on the card, middleweight, Marvin Vettori defeated Roman Dolchik, and that was a decision, unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27. And then the second fight on the bout was a women's flyweight bout between Jennifer Maia versus Casey O'Neill, unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. And then the one I like, the third fight on the bout, Gunnar Nelson versus Brian Barberino, and that was a submission armbar at 4:51 of the first round. And then the co-main event was a lightweight bout between Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev, and that was majority decision, 29-28, 29-28, and 28-28. And I had originally, so I'll fit that in again. I thought someone was probably going to get knocked out. I had picked Rafael Fiziev to get knocked out, and if he didn't get knocked out, I was thinking he was going to get knocked out. But still, that ended up being fight of the night. It ended up being the fight of the night, the best fight, because it was an exciting fight, nonstop kickboxing match, basically. And then main event was a welterweight bout between the champion Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. Once again, another two majority decisions back to back on this card, a 48-46, 48-46, and 47-47 for the draw. So it was a good card. It was exciting. I wouldn't say it was the most exciting card because there were so many decisions on the card, but it was still exciting. And the Justin Gaethje Rafael Fiziev was a good fight, and Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, both of those, they were intense, very competitive fights. But anyways, I think that's all I have for you for the UFC 286 Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3 reaction show. So I think that's all I have. So can I get a check, please?